The trailer for Season 5 Part 2 of Yellowstone recently dropped, and can you believe it's been almost 2 years since we got the final episode of Part 1? It's long overdue, and with all of the controversy around Kevin Costner on set, I'm glad that we're finally getting the next installment. However, it's obviously devastating that this is going to be our final trip to the Dutton Ranch in the present day. With there being a lot to take away from the trailer, I thought it would be worth breaking it down frame by frame, explaining what it means whilst also giving my theories and predictions on what I think could happen next. So let's get into it. Here is Yellowstone Season 5 Part 2 trailer explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers from the previous seasons. The trailer for Season 5 Part 2 opened up with John Dutton saying, "Everybody's forgotten who runs this valley. It's time to remind them." And as he said it, it cut to all of the main characters in the show. Beth, Rip, Casey, Jamie, Monica, Sarah, Mo, Thomas Rainwater, and then finally the man himself, Mr. John Dutton III. I think this was included for a couple of different reasons. The first is because, obviously, John Dutton fought to not have the airport built in the valley, which he successfully did, but I feel like there's going to be more issues that come up with that because he didn't go about it in the correct manner. Jamie is also trying to get John Dutton impeached as governor of Montana, which shows that there's extreme division within the family. And also, John is extremely sentimental about the ranch and is continuing to operate in a way which is essentially running it into the ground, a way that is outdated, despite Beth trying to bring it into the modern day. So there's a lot of division that's there internally and externally, and John Dutton is probably insinuating that it is he who runs the valley in more ways than one, because of family name and also because of the fact that he was elected as governor. The thing that I found particularly interesting about this was that he was saying all of this to Rip. Rip is obviously with Beth, but I feel like John looks at Rip like the son that he doesn't have. And I think Rip is going to be heavily influenced by John in this final part of the season, and that could mean devastating things for Beth and Rip's relationship. That's where I feel like the frustration in Rip was coming from in the trailer, especially when he threw his glass into the fire. The next line of the trailer was, "Our family legacy needs this ranch." As you know, if you've watched all of the Taylor Sheridan Universe shows, the Duttons on this ranch dates all the way back to 1883 with James Dutton when he settled there after going through great loss and effort. So there's over 100 years worth of history there for the Duttons, hence why they don't just want to walk away from it or hand it over. Beth said that piece of dialogue to Rip, and he said, "Then I'll protect it with my life." As he said that, the trailer cut to a moment where it seemed like he was pushing somebody off the edge of a cliff. The person appeared to be tied up and unable to fight back, and it was during the dead of night, so it was difficult to make out who it was. The next line in the trailer was spoken by Sarah, and she said, "Old lions die in the jaws of younger lions." This was said as there was a shot of John Dutton riding on his horse, and following that it cut to her saying it to Jamie, meaning John was the old lion and Jamie was the young lion. We know that Jamie is looking to get his father impeached, and it very much feels like Sarah is using Jamie as a pawn in her game to carry out Market Equity's quest to get the land that they want to build on. We know that MKT can sue the state of Montana for John Dutton moving the land into a conservation trust, which essentially means that the people of Montana will suffer if the suing goes ahead. So Sarah's approach in Jamie being the young lion is him capitalizing on that and getting the very people of the state to turn on his father. Alongside Sarah saying that, we saw that Jamie got out of his car and had a gun in his hand. One would have to imagine this is going to be as he's sneaking around the ranch. The next section of the trailer was then focused on Thomas Rainwater and Mo as they were approaching a piece of land near the water. We know that Rainwater is needing to fight for the reservation, and with him making an alliance with Casey, I wonder if Casey is going to assist in the fight of keeping a hold of it and improving conditions for the people. Following this, we saw Rip setting a light to a car during the dead of night. I imagine this is most likely the car that belonged to the person that he pushed off the cliff, as it was seen earlier on in the background of the shot. As Rip and Lloyd drove off, the trailer then took a slightly different turn when it came to the mood of it. Beth said the line, "I can't do this anymore," and Rip responded with, "Well, you're gonna have to, honey, or we're gonna lose this place." I wonder if this is going to have something to do with the potential divide that's going to be forming between Beth and her father and the approach on how to run the ranch. It wouldn't surprise me if Rip sided with John. It's funny because at the start of the trailer it was Beth essentially saying that they're gonna have to do anything to keep a hold of it and that they'd be willing to do so, but now she's saying she can't do it anymore. Or maybe Rip could have told her about the person that he killed, and her saying that could be connected to the idea that she doesn't want her life to be riddled with death and murder, and she wants no more of it. After this, there was then a shot of Jamie walking down a corridor with 2 police officers behind him. This was accompanied by a shot of Beth saying to Casey, "He will ruin this family's name." I imagine this is Beth talking about Jamie. From the very first moment that this season opened up 2 years ago, it was always implying that only Beth or Jamie would survive, and that there was a deep feud between them. I wonder if Jamie is being accompanied by the police because the photo of him disposing of his father's body might have finally made it into the hands of the authorities. When Beth said her line, it cut to Casey, and it looked as though he was in tears. So I wonder if this is going to follow on from the fight that it looked like both Casey and Jamie were going to be getting into on the doorstep. Following this scene in the trailer, Jamie said, "You destroy me, you destroy yourself." I imagine he's speaking to Beth, and he could be saying that about the photo of him getting rid of his father's body. This would also destroy the Duttons because the body was dropped in the same area that all of the people that the Duttons have killed over the years have been. So the authorities would find a mass grave and it would ruin the family completely. There was then a scene of the FBI walking through the streets of Montana as Jamie was destroying documents in his office. This was matched with Sarah saying how she took all of the risk and that she took it for him. So it seems like Sarah and Jamie's relationship is going to be in tatters. There was then a quick selection of shots that consisted of Jamie in tears, Beth getting into a fight with Sarah, which will be epic to see, Jamie breaking into a house, and Jamie then with a shotgun in the stables in the ranch. Could this be paired up with the scene of Carter holding a gun at somebody? Maybe. Plus, there was also somebody running over the hill whilst they were in flames. I couldn't quite make out who it was, but it kind of looks a bit like Monica from the side. The final section of the trailer was spoken by John Dutton and Beth. He said, "This war is just beginning," and she followed up by saying, "The only thing left to do is kill as much as you can before they kill you." So it looks like they're most definitely going to be going on the offensive instead of operating in a defensive manner. But after all, it's the Duttons. Have we ever known them to act any differently? This trailer has really set the mood and tone for the second part of Season 5, and I can't wait to see how it's going to unfold and ultimately bring the show to an end. I have a feeling that we might see John Dutton die. We know Kevin Costner kicked off on set and had his feud with Taylor Sheridan, so the character being killed off would be a dramatic yet exciting way for him to go out. I also think Jamie will die. It was always going to be Jamie or Beth, and I think Beth will come out on top and essentially run the ranch moving forward. She has plans, she has a vision, but her father is the person that's preventing it from going ahead and being a success. So this next season will also see her make her move whilst not betraying her family. With around 2 weeks to go until the final season gets released, I can't wait. I'm so ready for it. Plus, at the same time, we also get Landman, Taylor Sheridan's other new show, so the build up to Christmas is going to be great TV. So, there you have it, Yellowstone Season 5 Part 2 trailer explained.